Good evening, everybody. I would like to call the Monday, June 23rd, 2025 Blue Springs Planning Commission meeting to order. Thank you for coming. Please rise and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Tracy, could I get a roll call for attendance, please?
Of course. Commissioner Howe?
Present.
Commissioner Graham?
Present.
Commissioner Cradoff?
Present.
Commissioner Sanderson?
Present.
Commissioner Smith?
Present.
Commissioner Stokenberry?
Present.
Commissioner Pumphrey?
Present.
Commissioner Ingersoll? Chairperson Henry?
Present. Thank you, Tracy, and thank you everyone for being here and watching from home. Tonight's agenda consists of the minutes from the last meeting on May 27th, the rezoning, conditional use permit, and preliminary plat for Hawes Estates, a preliminary plat, final plat, and site plan design review for asphaltic surfaces, a final plat and PRO final for Eagles Ridge Estates, master alternative sign for a student mural, and so going to go over some rules of procedure and adjournment. Having said all that, at this time I would entertain a motion from one of my peers on the consent agenda for approval for the minutes of the meeting that happened on May 27th of this year.
So moved.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, that passes. Thank you. At this time, I will open the public hearing for agenda items 2, 3, and 4, which is the rezoning RZ05259572 and the conditional use permit CUP 05259573 and the preliminary plat PP 05259574 for Hawes Estates. At this time, I will ask for exhibits from our city attorney, Josh Newell.
The city would like to enter exhibits 1 through 8.
Thank you, Josh. All those that are here tonight that would like to speak about this project, either staff or in favor of or against, please rise and be sworn in all collectively. Is the applicant here?
Yes, the applicant is here.
John Overstreet, Tri-County Water Authority.
All right. Some swearing in.
Are you the only one over there? Okay, I'll have you repeat that when you get up there. Okay, can you raise your hand? Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you for that. Ms. Chantel Fry, would you tell us about this project, please?
So it's Chantel Fry. I'm a city planner here at the City of Blue Springs, 903 West Main Street. Good evening, commissioners. The items before you this evening is a request for approval of a rezoning, a conditional use permit, and a preliminary plat for approximately 17-acre site located at the southeast corner of Southeast Wyatt Road and Shroud Road. The applicant proposes to divide the site into 3 lots. The lot 1 will be approximately 7 acres, which would be developed by Tri-County Water Authority for a major water infrastructure facility. And then lots 2 and 3 will each be approximately 5 acres to be developed as a single family residential. And at this time, staff recommends approval of the rezoning and conditional use permits with the conditions, with the preliminary plat also at the end of the staff report. So the 2040 comprehensive plan designates this area at Southeast Wyatt and Southeast Adams Dairy Road as a neighborhood, which is intended for the residential living access to the civic amenities and the connected street patterns. And this also is a specific area under the S2, which identifies this site as a low-density residential, which would be appropriate for less than 5 units per acre in areas further away from neighborhood centers. This development is combining a low-density residential use with the essential utility infrastructure and aligns with both of these long-range plans. The request to rezone this property is to an SF12, which is a large lot single-family district. And this zoning is intended for the low-density development on the larger parcels and to buffer the residential areas from incompatible uses. Since Lot 1 will accommodate a utility major use, which includes the infrastructure such as water tanks operated under public utilities, the rezoning will support this land use and allow the parcel to be developed in accordance under the SF-12 standards. The proposed facility meets the intent of the utility major land use definition, which includes a water infrastructure. And conditional use permit is required due to the nature of this use underneath the SF-12. And this site will include water piping, pumps, and storage tanks to support water supply and fire flow. And then we'll also have daily inspections only, with the facility being remotely monitored with very minimal traffic impact. The preliminary plat complies with the minimum standards of the UDC section 403.050 and its submittal requirements. And the plat creates 3 lots that are proposed uses and supports the phased development. This project will be developed in multiple phases. The property currently includes an existing farmhouse with some outbuildings, which are located on Lot 1. There is an agreement with the city and Tri-County Water Authority that states that these structures will be removed at no expense of the city, no later than December 31st of 2026. The existing tree line, which is here in the center of the lots, will be preserved when feasible, and there will be additional landscaping incorporated to enhance the visual and environmental quality around the water tanks, because those are rather large. Lot 1 will have a gated access drive off of Southeast Wyatt Road, designed to allow vehicles to fully exit the roadway before stopping. Lots 2 and 3 will have individual driveway access off of Shroud Road with no gates. And as part of the public improvements, I know the city does have public improvements in place for a traffic circle and other improvements along the way, but there will be the improvement of a 5-foot ADA compliant sidewalk installed along Southeast Wyatt Road. A traffic study was not required as the utility site will generate minimal vehicle trips. And then the parking will be as followed. The Lot 1 with the utilities will follow underneath the Schedule B parking. And then lots 2 and 3 will have 2 spaces per dwelling unit. And all the final parking compliance will be reviewed during the site plan design review phase. A stormwater management plan must be prepared by a licensed engineer and reviewed by Public Works. The plan must be APWA 5600 and MARC BMP manual standards, and the detention areas and overflow paths will contain within the drainage easements. Lot 1 will not connect to the sanitary sewer due to its use, and lots 2 and 3 will be served by a private septic system because at this time there are no infrastructures built. The SF-12 zoning district will require a minimum 12% open space, and the proposed plat complies with this requirement. A conceptual landscape plan has been provided, but will also be reviewed in more detail during the site plan design review. There will be additional plant units and buffering that may be required by city standards, being that the water tanks are so close to the right-of-way. The building and site design for Lot 1 must comply with the UDC 407.090, the non-residential design standards. In the final materials, elevation and screening will be reviewed administratively during the site plan design review. Screening of roof-mounted and ground-level equipment is also required prior to the issuance of the certificate of occupancy. This project supports the essential public infrastructure while providing a large lot single-family development compatible with the surrounding land uses. This proposal aligns with the intent of the comprehensive plan and meets the standard of the Unified Development Code. It also will provide for future development for Blue Springs to expand in the area by providing extra water storage and facilities. Staff recommends approval of the rezoning, conditional use permit, and the preliminary plat with the conditions that are outlined in the staff report. And I would be happy to answer any questions, and the applicant is also here if there are questions.
Any questions?
Chair.
Yes.
I had a couple questions. One, You talked about some of the plan. You said the sidewalk was included with this application for improvements, but you talked about planned improvements that the city has. Can you talk more about that? And like just for context on what's maybe coming?
Toby, do you have any of, I know there's that traffic circle, which would be right here at Southeast Adams Dairy Parkway and Wyatt Road. I don't know if there's any other.
Yes, so currently White Road is going to be widened and or improved right in front of this property, as well as a future roundabout at the intersection. It's scheduled to start spring of next year, so it'll be in coordination with probably this improvement for the most part.
Okay, thank you. And this may be an applicant question, but do we know, it seems like the tank size might be still in question, but do we know approximate height of those tanks? That's fine if that's an applicant question.
Yeah, that would be an
Okay.
applicant
Yep.
question.
That sounds good. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I have a question or concern just about how visible they're gonna be amongst so close to Eagles Ridge and other future subdivisions. You mentioned this will come back before us for site plan design review, and maybe this is when that should be addressed, but just a little concerned to trail on your comments, Commissioner Sanderson, about the height and what kind of buffering it's going to have, so just throwing that out there for you and the applicant for when the time is here.
Yeah,
But,
most
that's a
definitely.
concern of mine. Any other questions for staff before we hear from the applicant? All right, is the applicant here who would like to speak about their project? This is your time to shine.
Perfect. Do I need to swear in again?
No, just say your name.
Your full name and
John
correct
Overstreet,
address.
Tri-County Water Authority, 28405 East Blue Valley Road, Independence, Missouri, 64058. So, Tri-County has been working with the Hawes family for over a year on this concept. And as the previous drawing would show, there's an intersecting area, if we can back up to the actual site plan. There we, yeah, that one works. So if you can see there right in the intersection, the city has a 24-inch water main that connects to Tri-County's two 16-inch mains there. District 13 has a 12-inch main that serves a good portion of their community in that area as well. That's all going to be disrupted by the traffic circle. That's all got to come out of the ground before you can put the first piece of equipment on the ground to actually construct the traffic circle. So this will allow for the relocation of those facilities and to improve the interconnect facilities between the city and Tri-County Water Authority. For future development, the two 2 million gallon tanks that are shown there at the west side of the property will be approximately 35 feet tall, and they will provide water both to the potential future development to the east of Shrout Road that the city has planned in probably the next 5 to 7 years, as well as the rest of Water District 13's area, and ultimately we'd be able to provide water to the city of Blue Springs through those facilities in the event that the ADP tower is out of service. So it's a great place for this to happen from our facilities. So questions?
Is it the kind of situation that this geographic corner is almost crucial because of where all those lines meet?
It is,
Meaning this
exactly
could not-
that. I
you
mean-
could not pick this up and do this a block away or 8 blocks away.
8 blocks, well, actually with meeting with city staff early in the project, we had tried to pare down the size of the facilities in that southwest corner of the intersection, and the staff said we need more space than that. So we worked with the Hawes family to increase the amount of property that we would purchase, take the tanks back to where they're less visible from the intersection. And yes, you're talking the relocation of the facilities that need to be relocated for the traffic circle today, we're probably in the neighborhood of $750,000 to do all that work. If we were to move east or west even a half a mile, that could easily top $2 million. So geographically, it's the perfect location.
And there's a certain sense of need that it needs to go. right?
Absolutely.
Okay, okay.
Particularly if that area to the east is going to develop and be served by District 13, that's going to be paramount to the ability to be able to do that.
And is the proposed roundabout at that intersection right there?
That is exactly where the roundabout is. I think, at one point, I think Afenis had a map that probably has been distributed. It may be included in the packet. It's not, we didn't include a copy of that, but we actually built or designed our facilities around how the traffic circle would be constructed to minimize those impacts.
Any discussion with that neighbor to the left?
We have not, no.
Okay.
I know that the city's notified everybody and signs have been posted and
Sure. Just
posted in the newspaper, but we have not heard any comment from anyone.
All right. Any questions, any other questions for the applicant before we hear from the audience? Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody here that would like to speak in favor of this project? Is there anybody here that would like to speak in opposition to this project? Yes.
Forgive me if I don't talk very.
Well, we got a microphone there for you, so we'll make sure it's turned on, and we want to hear what you have to say. So please start with your name and full address, please.
I will do that.
Thank you.
My name is Jim Hawes, James T. Hawes. I've been at that location for 30 years, something like that. And what else did you want?
Well, would you like to speak in opposition to this project or in favor of this project?
I want to speak in favor of this.
Okay.
And here's the main reason why. I have dealt with John Overstreet, who you just met. Many of you know. For quite a while, he's put easements in my property that I had 17. Deed says 18. You guys say 17. I've talked with John several times. And also I knew him when my captain on the fire department built his home for him. So I known John quite a while. His word is his bond. What he tells you is right. And what he's told me is right. Every time he's had an easement, it's been just like he said. So I'm speaking on behalf of John. You can trust him what he says. And if you thought there was any problem with the water tanks, my children are going to get those 2 5 acres right below him.
So he'd have to deal with your children.
These
He knows
have to
better.
do with my children. I'm going to give them that property. And if I had any question about their property, I wouldn't recommend this. I think it'll be fine. I know they plan to build good homes there. And I think you can count on what's been said. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Is there anybody else in the audience that would like to speak in favor of or opposition to this project?
I guess just in case you need more people in favor.
We don't need people, but if you
No,
want to
okay,
speak,
well-
we just need your name and
All
address
right.
first, and then we got 3 minutes to listen to you.
Don Hawes, set 911 Southwest Hereford Drive in Grain Valley. 64029. That property's been in our family for 50 years, and both me, my sister, and my wife want to live there, keep it in our family. So this worked out really good, and so I just like on record that I am in favor of it, along with the rest of my family and my dad.
Fabulous.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anybody else in the house that would like to speak in favor of or opposition to this project? Seeing none, I will close this section of the public hearing, and I'll ask staff if you got anything else to add?
No, just that I've taken note on the concerns of the buffering, and when that comes back around for the site plan design review, we will pay attention to the buffering and see what we can do.
Thank you for that. Anything else from the applicant or the commissioners up here?
I have a question for staff.
Yes.
Were there any letters of opposition by any chance?
No, we did not hear of any letters of opposition, or emails or phone calls.
Thank you.
Anything else from up here? I will close the public hearing. And I'll bring it back up here to us and ask for a motion if somebody chooses.
Chair,
Yes, sir.
I would move to recommend approval of the rezoning for Hawes Estates RZ 05-25-9572 with the 2 staff conditions.
I have a motion. How about a second?
Second.
And a second. Tracy, could I please get a roll call on this?
Of course. Commissioner Graham,
Aye.
Commissioner Cradoff,
Aye.
Commissioner Sanderson,
Aye.
Commissioner Smith,
Aye.
Commissioner Stokenberry,
Aye.
Commissioner Pumphrey,
Aye.
Commissioner Howe,
Aye.
Chairperson Henning.
Aye.
All ayes.
And that passes. Moving on to the next one, I would ask for a motion for the conditional use permit portion of this project.
Chair,
Yes, sir.
I would move to approve the conditional use permit for Hawes Estates CUP-05-25-9573, also with 2 staff conditions.
Thank you. I've got a motion. How about a second?
Second.
And it's been seconded. Tracy, could I get another roll call vote, please?
Of course. Commissioner Cradoff,
Aye.
Commissioner Sanderson,
Aye.
Commissioner Smith,
Aye.
Commissioner Stokenberry,
Aye.
Commissioner Pumphrey,
Aye.
Commissioner Howe,
Aye.
Commissioner Graham,
Aye.
Chairperson Henning.
Aye. That motion carried with 2 staff conditions. All 3 of these will be recommended and heard by the City Council on their next meeting on Monday, July 7th. As for the last portion of this project, I would ask for a motion for the preliminary plat portion.
Chair,
Yes, sir.
might as well finish it out.
Let's go.
Now, I would move to approve preliminary plat for Hawes Estates PP-05-25-9574 with the 5 staff conditions.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
A second.
And we can vote together on this one. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, that also passes with 5 staff conditions. And that finishes that. And again, that will be heard by the City Council at their Monday, July 7th meeting. Moving on to the next item on our agenda is item 5 and 6 and 8. The preliminary plat, PP 05259569, final plat, PF 05259568, and site plan design review, SPDR 05259570 for asphaltic surfaces. At this time, I would ask for staff's presentation. Ms. Fry.
Good evening, Commissioners. Before you this evening is a request of the, one second. Is a request for the approval of a site plan design review, the preliminary plat and the final plat for asphaltic surfaces located at 1050 Southwest Cemetery Road. The applicant is proposing to redevelop this site with the construction of a general industrial building to include the associated parking, the public infrastructure improvements to support the construction of the contractor and storage use. And then a conditional use permit was previously approved for this operation of land use in the general business zoning district. The final plat proposes one parcel totaling approximately 2.18 acres. So, the building that is proposed will be a two-story structure featuring the Coronado stone at the base and a medium bronze pre-finished metal panels. Windows will be incorporated across both levels to provide architectural balance and visual interest, and the overall design complies with the non-residential design standards in the UDC section of 407.090. There is the ingress and egress that will be provided from Southwest Cemetery Road, which is right here in the center of the block, and that there's no new public sidewalk to be proposed or improved at this location since the surrounding areas does not have sidewalks. There is going to be the internal 8-foot wide private sidewalk that will extend the length of the building and will provide an ADA parking stall at the north, and then the sidewalk also follows down to the south side of the building that will all be 8 foot. In coordination with MoDOT, the applicant will be installing a left turn lane on the eastbound Highway 40 at the approach of Cemetery, and down here is where that is shown, the left turn lane there. And the development includes a 7,600 square foot building, and with the associated hardscape resulting in a 1.27% increase in the impervious surface area. This increase falls within the threshold allowed without having to provide detention on site. A 15-foot storm sewer easement has been proposed to accommodate the existing line, and that storm easement is proposed here to the south of the building. And you can also see it closely in this area. The gravity sewer lines run southern and eastern of the property lines. There's a 15-foot easement in the proposed area around these lines, and the sewer invert elevations must be verified by a licensed professional to confirm the service feasibility at this site. All roof mounted and ground level equipment will be fully screened in accordance with UDC 407.090H section. And screening these details will be reviewed during the building permit phase and will be installed prior to a certificate of occupancy. A photometric plan was submitted, and the full review for this compliance will occur during the building permit stage. The site meets its 12% open space requirement for the general business district, and this area includes the existing impervious surfaces that were previously used for parking. They will just be redoing that pavement. This project will be constructed in one phase. And then here's the landscaping plan. As you can see, there's the heavier landscaping to the front where the fence will be removed to where it now will follow that landscaping, which will give a better view, I guess, from the right-of-way since the building will be right there. And then here is the proposed building with the Coronado stone and the windows breaking up the 2 floors. And the previously approved general development plan provided the alternative development standards, which allows the overnight parking of company vehicles in front and on the side yards. The overhead doors will be allowed to face the collector and arterial street. And then the above ground fuel tank storage will be allowed to be placed in the front or side yard. That will be reviewed in a different permitting. And so staff finds a preliminary plat and the final plat meet the standards outlined in the UDC section 403.05, and the overall development complies with the applicable site and architectural design requirements. Staff recommends approval of this site plan design review with the preliminary plat and the final plat, subject to the conditions that are outlined in the staff report. And I would be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for staff? Seeing none, is the applicant here? Would they like to speak briefly on the project?
Patrick Joyce, with Kimberly Horn, 436 Northeast Brockton Drive in Lee Summit. So myself and Jake Robbins are both here. I think we had a pretty good explanation of the project. It's the second time you've seen it. One big thing, I guess, the note that came through last time, you had asked that we relocate some of the vegetation from the back to the front, which you see. We did that per the landscape plan that we provided there. So with that, we're here to stand for any questions.
Is it a two-story building or one story?
One story.
Okay. I thought I saw some stairwell on one of
It's-
the plans.
Yes, it's 2-story.
Oh, it is sorry. Sorry, I'm not the architect.
I was gonna say.
Well,
The architect couldn't make it tonight. I apologize. So you're getting the civil engineer. Everything's one story.
will the second floor be finished out at the same time the main floor is and the whole other rest of the building?
Yeah, Jake Robbins, 1920 Northeast Park Ridge Circle, Lee Summit, Missouri, 64064. Yeah, so basically the building's 75, I think, by 100. You can see basically the first 75 foot off of Cemetery Road is going to be finished. On the left is the actual bottom floor, so we're going to have obviously 5 or 6 offices, kind of like a little, I'm trying to create something where people want to work there, also bring stuff to Blue Springs, so we're having like a little fitness place. And then on the upside, we have the whole center open where it says community space, just so we can invite people over, and network with people. And then the top floor is another set of offices. Mine's the biggest one on the right, but basically the other side is an open office. We're just going to leave it open. We're probably just going to kind of just have like a rec area for the guys to have something fun to do when we're not working. But pretty much that is my plan is obviously to be here. My kids will go to school in Blue Springs. Is just to grow with the city and build a business and build something nice. So.
All right. Thank you very much. Any questions for the applicant?
Thank you.
Looks like you're getting off easy tonight. Any other discussion or comments from up here? I would ask for a motion on the preliminary plat. There's 3 phases to this one as well? Yes.
Chair,
Yes.
I would recommend we approve preliminary plat PP 05-25-9569 for Aspheric Services with the staff conditions.
Thank you very much. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing none, that passes unanimously with 2 staff conditions. Moving on to the final plat portion of this project, I would ask for a motion.
Chair,
Yes.
also a motion to approve final plat PF 05-25-9568 for Asphaltic Services with the staff conditions.
I have a motion. How about a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That also passes with 4 staff conditions. And the final portion, which is the site plan design review portion of this project.
Chair,
Yes.
move to approve site plan design review SPDR 05-25-9570 with staff conditions.
Thank you. How about a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Also passes unanimously with 3 staff conditions. Thank you guys very much. Moving on, item number 7, which is Eagles Ridge. Agenda number 7, PF 05-259571, and item 8 is PRO final plan, PROF 06-259610 for Eagles Ridge Estates PR 05, 5th plat. Ms. Fry again, ask for presentation. Thank you.
Good evening, Commissioners. The item before you this evening is a request for the Plan Residential Overlay Final Plan and Final Plat for Eagles Ridge Estates 5th Plat, which is located northwest of Southwest Newport Drive and west of Southwest 5th Street. This property consists of approximately 10.55 acres, is currently zoned SF7 PRO, and represents the final phase of the Eagle Ridge Estates subdivision. The proposal will include 32 single-family residential lots and then the one track designed for open space. So the proposed use will be consistent as the other Eagles Ridge estates, will consist of the detached housing, permitting the single principal dwelling unit per lot, excuse me. The housing types will include the mix of the ranch and two-story homes consistent with all the other previously approved PRO concept plans. The building elevations, which I did not attach in this report, but will follow the same elevations and previous plats that will incorporate the masonry and siding to align with all the design elements previously approved. The applicant is proposing a minimal livable floor area of 1,600 square feet for a ranch-style house and 1,800 square feet for all other home types. And this is also consistent with the previous phases and complies with the UDC section 407.140. The site is currently undeveloped open space. The application represents the fifth and final phase of this overall Eagles Ridge and will be developed in a single phase. The infrastructure improvements will include a public street construction and a sidewalk on one side of the street network, and will provide vehicle access from 2 points from Southwest 5th Street to Southwest Nelson Drive, and from Southwest 5th Street to Southwest Kemfords Drive. The 5-foot sidewalks will be constructed on the east side of the development in this kind of U shape, as you see there. There's also a 5-foot wide trail, which will be located along Mo 7 Highway behind lots 151, 152, 159 through 166, and then also follows track G, which is the open space to the north. And then it also will come off-site down to track A, which is down to the south of the subdivision here to complete the walking trail for that subdivision. The traffic study was not required for this phase of this development, and the stormwater management plan has been submitted by a licensed engineer, and then stormwater detention has been provided via a basin with a certification letter confirms that it is constructed in accordance with the approved plans. The existing system has capacity to serve this development, and the developer is responsible for extending the sewer lines internally. The phase of this track with the detention basin located in track G, while the basin does not count towards the open space, the overall open space of this division was actually met in previous plats, and it gives it approximately 20.5%, which exceeds the 15% minimum requirement. The landscaping and treescape improvements will include street trees for every 50 feet of right-of-way, 45 plant units per unit or per lot. This can also be installed, are financially guaranteed before the certificate of occupancy is issued, and then the decorative precast concrete wall that we already see when you drive down 7 Highway now. So the PRO final plan complies with the UDC section for the streetscape design, and the previous modifications that were approved was the reduction of the corner side setback from a 25 feet to a 15 feet, and you really see those just on these corner lots. The PRO final plan and final plat are consistent with the PRO concept plan and the preliminary plat, and they meet all applicable requirements of the UDC. Staff recommends approval of both the PRO final plan and the final plat with the outlined conditions in the staff report. The applicant is here, and I would be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Any questions for staff? I noticed on the west side of this project that abuts 7 Highway, they're going to install 6-foot concrete precast,
Yes.
what's the word, wall. I can't recall, is there any of that currently abutting 7 Highway along this project?
Yep. I believe the walls actually.
It's currently installed.
Okay.
Mhm.
Yep.
Oh, it's already there for this project?
Yep.
Okay. One of those things that drive by it a million times, I probably didn't remember seeing it, so, okay,
You don't really notice it.
right. All right, anything else for staff before we hear from the applicant? All right.
Good evening. My name is Brian Ron for the applicant, 1120 Northwood. Sorry, got a little bit of a cough there. Thank you for consideration of the project this evening. Here to answer any questions. This is the last phase of Eagles Ridge. The homes that we're going to build there, going to fall right in line with the existing homes that are there. It's been a beautiful subdivision, and we're hoping that, with this, phase right here being completed, we're right into the building season right now. So, there's a lot of interest, and hopefully we'll get some new homes going up.
Thank you. Any questions for the applicant? I do have one. Tracy, could you go up one screen? Or Tracy, Chantel, Ms. Fry. That's it. Zoom in there. The vacant ground to the south of this project? Oh,
Are you looking for
this one, yeah. What's gonna go outside that, that vacant square rectangle right there? Is that not part of this project?
I believe just the way that it's shown, it is part of the project. I just don't believe it's showing it
As developed?
But yeah, so that tract A, if you're familiar with
Okay.
Eagles Ridge, that tract A is the detention pond
Okay.
that's on the left-hand side as you come in that entrance. Directly across
okay.
the entrance is the clubhouse for the multifamily portion
Okay,
of Eagles Ridge.
okay, that answers my question. Any other questions for the applicant? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good to see you as always. All right, anything else up here before I ask for a motion? Having said that, I would ask for a motion for the final plat portion of this project.
Chair,
Yes.
everybody's silent tonight. I would move to approve final plat for Eagles Ridge, PF-05-25-9571 with the 5 staff conditions.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing none, that passes with 5 staff conditions. Now I would ask for a motion on the final plan portion of this project.
Chair,
Yes.
I would move to approve the PRO final plan for Eagles Ridge, PROF-06-25-9610 with the 3 staff conditions.
All right, I've got a motion. How about a second?
Second.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? With 3 staff conditions passes as well. All right. Moving on to a final agenda item is number 8, a master alternative sign plan, ASP 05259596 for the downtown student mural. I've been excited about this one, so let's hear about it.
Okay. So this, before you this evening is the request for approval of the master sign plan, the proposed mural from the Blue Springs High School students. The proposed mural will be placed on the north facade of 204 Southwest 11th Street, which is currently right across the street with, I guess it was originally 4 murals, but it is now 3. So the proposed mural will, design is actually 3 separate panels and combined makes 1 large panel. Each panel is measuring 8 feet by 8 feet, and they will be installed flush to the wall. The mural will be created by a team of Blue Springs High School students. I believe they're already creating these panels, getting ready. And the artwork features a single figure which is set against a vibrant background. multicolored sky with cloud imagery. The background incorporates symbolic elements representing the history, culture, and forward-looking spirit of Blue Springs. As outlined in city policy, murals were the only type of signage that must be reviewed and recommended by the Public Art Commission. And this mural was presented on June 11th to the Public Art Commission. And it has been evaluated under the sign code criteria. The mural strengthens the community identity and has a strong educational youth component. No visual blight or clutter. The design incorporates scale to the wall, includes limited text, and is visually compatible with the surrounding area. The architectural compatibility, the colors and proportions of this mural are thoughtfully integrated to complement the brick facade and the overall downtown character. These panels will be wall mounted with no projection, posing no risk to pedestrian or vehicle safety, and no adverse impact on neighbors. The proposed location and design does not present any known negative effects on adjacent properties. And this mural has been evaluated solely based on its size, location, and materials consistent with the First Amendment protections. The Art Commission approved this mural with the condition of the maintenance plan to be submitted. I have submitted the maintenance plan regarding of the sign, and it's also been provided in the packet. And they will be required to do the long-term maintenance and care to preserve of this mural. And so staff recommends approval of the proposed mural with the 3 conditions that are outlined in the staff memo. I would be happy to answer any questions, and I believe the applicant is here for any questions also.
Thank you, Ms. Fry. Any questions for staff? For Ms. Chantel Fry? Would the applicant like to speak on their project?
Hello, I'm Teresa Keene, and I'm the new Executive Director for Downtown Blue Springs. The address is 801 Northwest Vesper. I came in when this project was already in the works under John Burke. Super excited to work with the students and Jeremy Baker at the high school in this concept, and excited to replace the murals that are on the wall. What is existing was not intended to be permanent murals. They were actually paintings that were dispersed around Blue Springs in various areas that were at one point placed on the walls. This is definitely going to be an improvement. I've worked with Jeremy to ensure that the panels are going to be primed, prepped, sealed, and we will ensure the maintenance of this project. Again, the hope is that this is also not a permanent mural project, that we can continue throughout the years to work with students to give them the exposure and the opportunity to have their art present in their community. I think it gives them a sense of connection and it enhances the culture of our downtown. Overall, I just think this partnership with Downtown Blue Springs, the city by approving this permit, and the students, we also received support from the Blue Springs Art League to host a ribbon cutting and ceremony for the students once they return back to school. Students are already working on this project because it was a summer school project. So they had to get going because summer school has a limited window of time, but they're all excited to have their artwork present in the community. So just a couple of suggestions that I made from if you scroll up a little bit, the figure, because it is student work to the larger scale mural, was to alter the tone or the value of some of the image of the figure. So they're going to shift some tones there so that those are more differentiated. But otherwise, their focus was just to dream about their city, past, present, and future, and this is the concept that they came up with, so we really are excited about it.
Well, thank you very much. Any questions for the applicant? All right. Any further discussion from the commissioners up here? Comments, thoughts, motions? I would ask for a motion.
Chair.
Yes.
I move to approve the master alternative sign ASP-05-25-9596 downtown student mural with the staff conditions.
I have a motion. How about a second?
Second.
And that's been seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, that passes unanimously. Thanks for coming in tonight. We're done for applicant agenda items. We've got one more item here. Nick Hutchison is gonna go over some rules and procedures with us as commissioners.
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Nick Hutchison. I am the Assistant Community Development Director with the city.
And Nick is new, in case any of you did not know or haven't met him. Let's give him an extra hard time.
There you go. So part of our annual responsibilities, we have to provide an update to our rules of procedure, and this was adopted by City Council in 2022. And so each of you have been provided with a copy of this at your station. If you guys could review it, there are the basic purpose, the terms, membership, the procedures of the commission, and reference to the comprehensive plan, some other important elements. I'd also like to bring attention to the attendance requirement. So you're required to attend 20%. If you miss more than 20% of the meetings, the mayor can appoint a new member by way of city council. So take time to review the rules and procedures and sign the back page and provide it to Tracy. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to myself or staff, and we would be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Any questions for Nick? About attendance, earlier this year, there was a meeting at City Hall for just chairmans of all the commissions and boards. Mayor Livesay had mentioned that they were gonna change the rules a little bit about you have to you have to be present for a certain amount of meetings or a certain percentage of meetings. Said he was gonna do away with that and just make it more relaxed. And he was also, I think it was discussed on some of our packet information from time to time, have a list of commissioners and how many meetings they've missed to serve as some accountability as to where you are. And it wasn't gonna be that you got kicked off after a certain amount, you're just gonna get talked to and so forth. Could you check on that with him or the powers to be, maybe circle back in a meeting or two? I'm just curious.
Sure.
About that attendance rule that was talked about. And, anybody have anything else? I would also just ask, our city attorney's here, anybody else, if you have any questions or unknowns about how procedure works, now is the perfect time just to talk about it and ask. And also I would ask for some feedback from city attorney or staff as to how we're doing up here. Do we do something from time to time that's not right? Critique us, tell us. Me and my peers, we welcome that. So I guess we're just doing a great job. Nothing.
Right now you're doing great.
Okay, so we'll just keep doing a great job.
Leave it at that.
Leave it at that.
I was gonna say, I don't think attendance issues have ever been an issue.
It hasn't, yeah.
I'm
No.
gonna say everyone's pretty much here all the time, so
Yeah.
we appreciate that.
Yep. All right.
I have a question.
Yes. Commissioner Crowder.
You mentioned something about the conduct, what the chair does and how he conducts, he keeps the quorum, how he makes the quorum where it's supposed to be in the courtroom when we speak. Have you guys talked about rules and order? Because we've had a couple of meetings before where we had lots of people here from the public in the hearings, and sometimes it's gotten out of order. And so have you guys had any discussion? I know you're new. Have you had any discussion about how you can do better to protect us here, and what kind of help we can get when it does get out of order?
Sure. Yeah, we can take that under advisement, and we're going to continue providing annual training to the commission so that we can maybe provide you guys with some tips and pointers, and then staff is always here to help kind of facilitate that public discourse as well.
Yeah, I guess I'm more concerned about how to protect us here, you know, during the hearings as well. What have you guys done to impact that, to make sure that the crowd doesn't get out of control? I know we have our bailiffs, our police officers here that are protecting us, but is there anything that we can do to control the size of the public when it comes in here? If there's too many people, if it gets out of control, is there any discussion about how that's to be maintained? Because I know we've had discussions before about how many people can be held in this room.
Right.
And we'd like to know just how can we protect ourselves a little better.
Sure.
Sometimes if we walk out of here, we have an unruly bunch standing outside. They've had a couple of arguments before in the past, and we'd like to know what's been done about it. What kind of conversations have taken place because of that?
Sure. Yeah, we can certainly look into that. But as you mentioned, you know, we're stipulated on the number of occupants that can be within this facility and this room, and so other than that, we really can't restrict the number of people that are in a public hearing. But certainly we can look into other measures and procedures just to provide additional safety to commissioners.
Thank you.
I would like to say one thing on the size of the gallery. If it becomes to where it is overflowing, there might be some consideration of canceling the hearing, going to a bigger venue. We have to allow everybody in that wants in, so we have to keep that in mind.
I have a suggestion. Is there any way we could open another room, maybe have a screen where we could put some of the other public in another room so they could view the hearing and still be a part of it?
What he's really asking is he wants the people that ask too many questions to be in a separate room to make it harder.
No, that's not what I'm saying.
I'm just.
But he wasn't here when we had a couple of those instances. But what I'm saying, if it does get too crowded, is there another area we could allow them to go into so it just won't be fully packed and get out of control or anything like that? Where we might be able to look at a screen of some sort, or
Yeah, I'm not
where
sure
they can
about the
still
facilities,
participate?
but I do know that we can't limit how many there are, and I would suggest if we do have a screen issue, you know, if we do consider that it would be in this building where they could still come speak for their 3 minutes or whatnot.
Chair,
Yes.
I can answer that. We have had to put people in overflow, even in city council on certain occasions. And there is televisions and screens up in the other room, in the Jernigan room where they were at, and they were in the hallway with the television going on where they could see it that way. And the attorney's correct. That way they want to speak, they're in here in the building, but there has been times that has happened, and it's been provided.
I would also imagine that for that to take place, you probably see it coming a little bit with as much discussion and community involvement and phone calling that's going on about that particular item. So the city's probably already prepared for that heavy duty meeting.
Yes, sir.
Right.
And we do have police officers that have helped us at city council's meetings on that part of it too.
Is there any way we can include that in here at some point to make sure that definitely would happen?
Yeah, this would have to go back to city council for that amendment, but that's something that we can look into.
Just a thought.
So Councilman Kaler, would you just take a few of those concerns to your peers? And just
Yes, sir.
Take two of his thoughts? And
I will do
see
that.
if you come back with anything.
Yes, sir.
Anything else down here to my right? I would just like to emphasize the conflicts portion of this document and how important it is. Read it over. I've had a couple conflicts. I didn't even need, it says that you should, talk to the city attorney about it, and that's the right procedure. There's been a few times where I just knew it was an absolute conflict, so I just stated that and exited stage left or right, but I believe that's just an extremely important portion of what we do here is to maintain the integrity of this commission and the dealings that go on with the city. That's just my 2 cents on that. Other than that, that's all I have about this. Do you have anything else, Nick?
That's it.
Over here to my right, anything else? Douglas. Okay. Thank you for that, and the city is asking for us to sign the last page of that and turn that in. And if you don't, you won't get your paycheck.
That's why I haven't gotten that.
That's why you haven't gotten it. All right, well, having said that, is there any other business amongst anybody here tonight who'd like to speak? Seeing none, I would entertain a motion to adjourn this meeting.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? This meeting has been adjourned. Thank you very much for watching and attending. Have a pleasant evening and be safe.